Welcome to the Visualize Meditations podcast, hosted by your friend Sasha Patil, a Chopra certified meditation teacher. The first step to creating the life of your dreams is to create a clear and compelling vision for what you want for the future. I'll be guiding you on visualization meditation so you can get clear on your deepest desires. Let's get started so you can turn your vision into a reality.
Hi, hello, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. It's your gal pal Sasha, and to paint the scene for you right now, currently still in sunny San Diego. And I've been here for a little over a month at this point, maybe a month and a half, 6 weeks-ish, and I'm doing really well. I just got back from a weekend trip to Mammoth, and things are good. So there is something that I do every single year that really helps me push my limit. And everyone always says growth comes from the outside of your comfort zone. And every year I like to challenge myself to do 1 to 2 ridiculously hard things. I heard this concept from Jesse Itzler where you do 1 to 2 things that really challenge you every year. Something really, really difficult that you put your energy and work into. And I started doing this in 2023. And I have been continuing to do it since then, and it is one of my favorite things. Yes, I set a lot of goals every year to achieve certain things, but at the same time, it's really nice to have one overarching difficult challenge that I'm working through at the time. So the point of this is to promote my growth and also to show myself that I can do really challenging, difficult things. I know that confidence comes from making promises to yourself and following through with them and keeping them. Yes, it can be a fake it till you make it situation, but I find personally that I feel really confident in myself when I know that everything I say will get done no matter what, or if I have confidence in my follow through or my abilities. And I feel like a really great way for me to build my confidence is to challenge myself with something that's really, really difficult and challenging. And every year I like to choose 1 to 2 really difficult things to do. I feel like it's just been such a game changer for me in terms of challenging myself, evolving, growing, and building confidence, because I know it's like, oh, I set out to do this one big challenging thing this year, and at the end of the year I can look back and say, wow, like I really did this thing that was really difficult, and it makes me feel so much better about myself. And growth really comes from the outside of my comfort zone and pushing myself beyond my limits. So the first year that I did this was 2023, and the 2 difficult things I did was running a marathon and becoming a meditation teacher. Both of them took a lot of training. Both of them took a lot of perseverance and patience and grit. And that's the reason I do this is because I like to challenge myself with 1 to 2 really difficult things. Number 1, to prove to myself that I can do these things. And number 2, to practice perseverance, patience, grit, determination, and to just challenge myself to do something really, really hard that feels really difficult. So for 2024, I decided to not drink any alcohol for the entire year and not to buy a single piece of new clothing for the entire year. And honestly, not buying clothing was way harder for me. My background's in fashion. I love my wardrobe. I love my clothing. And the reason that I chose these 2 things was, number 1, I got the Oura Ring a couple years prior, and I realized that every time I had a drink, my sleep was just shit. And I also started thinking about, okay, what's the next challenging thing I'm going to do this upcoming year? And I was like, giving up alcohol sounds really difficult. And I was like, why does giving up alcohol sound so difficult, especially since I have alcoholics on both sides of my family? And I was like, oh, I don't know if since I've started drinking, if there's been a week or a month that I just haven't had a drink at all. So let's try it for an entire year to make sure that there's no problems and to promote my health and to really invest in my health. And I loved it. I got so into mocktails. I slept great. I lost a ton of weight. I got in great shape. Things were awesome. I loved not drinking for the entire year. It was also interesting to see the people around you who was pressuring me to drink, who wasn't pressuring me to drink, and the kind of communities I decided to surround myself with. And also that same year, I decided to not buy a single new piece of clothing. And I love my wardrobe. I love fashion. This was so difficult for me. I think I bought a pair of shoes and maybe some jewelry, but I did not buy any clothing. And this was really challenging. And in this year, I saved so much money. I got in great shape. I learned how to appreciate the things I already had, especially when it came to my wardrobe. I learned about who was an aligned person around me with the alcohol. It was just overall really great, challenging thing. In 2025, the difficult thing I did was having no boyfriends. And this was just really specific to this year because I had just gotten out of a relationship and I realized that there had not been a single period of time in my adult life that I had been single for more than 6 months. And in those 6 months, I was between my high school sweetheart and my ex, I was dating and hooking up and just casually seeing people. So there was really no time between them where I wasn't seeing anybody. So I decided, okay, absolutely no boyfriends this year. I'm going to be 1 year completely single. Flings are, casually seeing people is okay, but no one is going to be my boyfriend in 2025. And honestly, it was challenging. I did have a couple of people who were really wanting to commit. And I said, if you're still this serious about me, you're going to be this serious about me in 2026. And what do you know? Are any of them around right now? No, they're not. So it was a great, great challenge. And I'm glad I did it. Now, this year is probably the most challenging year I've faced so far with this thing. And in 2026, I decided to give up caffeine. This is probably one of the hardest ones I've ever done so far, especially since I am working on East Coast hours on the West Coast. So I'm waking up at like 5:30 in the morning to get started work, and I really would love a cup of coffee. Also, I love going to a local coffee shop, but it feels kind of weird to order a motherfucking steamer or a hot chocolate. It feels so wrong and so weird, but that's part of the challenge, right? I was between giving up weed and giving up caffeine. And with caffeine, I knew I was 100% addicted to it. I was having at least 1 cup of coffee a day, sometimes two, sometimes three. And I know it spikes my cortisol levels. And on the other hand, weed, I don't smoke every day. I smoke casually sometimes in the week, and it really mellows me out. So I was deciding between the two, and I decided to choose the thing that I'm definitely addicted to and definitely stresses me out more, as opposed to the thing that I don't do as often and mellows me out. And so far, this year has been the most challenging. Every single day, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss having a cup of coffee, and that I feel great about this decision. And I'd say I'm going to continue to do this forever just because, number one, I feel like it's really great to shake things up and to really challenge myself beyond just my goals. This is just one theme through the year that helps me challenge myself, and it's like a hard and strict boundary for myself to prove myself that I can do something. So that's where we're at there. Maybe by the end of this, you'll be inspired to challenge yourself with something new. If something sounds really difficult to you, I encourage you to reflect on why it sounds so difficult to you, especially if it's something that's going to be good for your health or something that's going to be good for your well-being, or just is going to improve your life in some way, shape, or form. If it sounds difficult, I would really question why it sounds difficult, and if there's some sort of limiting belief or limiting pattern or story that you're telling yourself about why it can't be achieved. Listen, I know this is not for everybody, okay? But maybe this inspires you to try giving up something hard for a week or a month. And honestly, what I would do is take a look at the things in your life that maybe aren't the best for you and think about, okay, giving a thing up or giving something up or not doing something or challenging yourself to do something hard, why does that thing sound so hard? And I would really encourage you to take a step back and think about it. And if it's something that's detrimental to your health or your well-being, maybe consider taking a break for a while. It doesn't have to be a year. Maybe it can be a month or a week or a day. And it's something that I love doing and something I'm going to continue to do forever. So let's get into the personal update. I'm pretty sure on this podcast I have talked about previously this discussion I've had with my therapist where we realized that every single romantic partner I've had has gone from not knowing the person to being romantically involved with them in 10 days or less. And when I talked about this with my therapist, I realized that with me doing this and with this pattern of jumping into romantic thing after romantic thing really quickly after meeting somebody, it limits us from creating any sort of foundation whatsoever. I can't see the dynamic between me and the other person accurately. There's no building of trust. And I've just been jumping into shit without any concern about how it's going to be later on. It's almost like I was falling in love with the idea of the person rather than actually who they are. And the only way to get to know someone is to get to know them over time. So this is something that I'm actively working on right now. And I'm so happy to say that I have officially broken the 10-day rule with somebody. And I've been crushing on a person. We have not hooked up. We've just been friends. And I felt I've been feeling chemistry with this person and realizing that I'm just going to get to the 10-day mark at the very, very minimum before I even bring anything up. And it was interesting because from day 1 through day 10, I, developed more and more feelings. Every time that this person says something, everything that's coming out of this person's mouth is making me like them more. And day 1 through 10, I was just crushing and swooning and getting all caught up. And then what do you know? We passed day 10, and on day 11, all of the icks come up. And I'm like, oh my God, the 10-day rule. It works for me right now. Listen, it's going to take longer than 10 days to actually get to know someone. But the 10 days enables me to stop and to remove myself from the chemistry of it all and to zoom out and be like, actually, do I like this person? Do I like the people around this person? Do I like their values? And it's something that I've got a chance to sit on as opposed to being blinded by chemistry, just being able to stop, pause, take a little bit longer and understand who the person is, understand the dynamic, build some sort of foundation, build some sort of trust. And nothing's happened with this person, but I feel really proud of myself that I'm growing from the discomfort of moving slowly and slowing down to speed up and being very intentional about everything I'm doing. I want to be intentional about every single area of my life, and I want to be thoughtful and thorough for all of these areas. And yes, that goes along with the podcast and my 9-to-5 job and my friendships, my family relationships, and my health, and every single area of life. And one area that up until this point have failed to do that with has been my romance. I've just kind of jumped into things blindly up until this point. And now I'm slowing down and being way more intentional with it because, who you end up with is pretty much the biggest decision you're going to make with your life. And I want to be so thoughtful and so intentional about that. And I don't want to fucking settle. And I don't want to just settle for crumbs of affection. And I don't want to settle for someone who is not aligned with me or my values or what we want with our lives. I'm really excited about it. And this has been like a huge breakthrough for me in the last handful of weeks. And I'm really happy about this whole thing. Long story short, for both the hard thing and the 10-day rule is growth comes from stepping outside your comfort zone, doing the difficult thing, breaking the patterns that you've had in the past. Growth comes from trying new things and comes from stepping outside of your comfort zone, pushing yourself beyond your limits, and challenging yourself to do something that seems difficult and seems hard because the lessons on the other side are so worth it. Both of those things boil down to this one lesson. And I feel like I keep learning this lesson over and over and over again. And I feel like the more that I actively do that, the more I'm learning about myself and the more I'm learning about life and its situations, and I'm making more aligned decisions because I'm growing. So this episode is kind of short and sweet. Next week, I'm going to be chatting about one of the most requested things and one of the most common questions I'm getting from listeners and from members of the community and the audience, which is feminine cycle syncing. So if you have any questions about that, let me know and I'll answer them next week when I go into a deep dive around feminine cycle syncing. And in the meantime, guys, if you could please like this podcast, if you could please follow it, if you could please leave a comment, feedback, testimonials, anything. It helps way more than you guys know. And now that I'm pivoting the podcast, I'm actually chatting about things that you guys have been asking me about. And it's really nice to just kind of have a two-sided conversation because I want to be able to provide as much value to you as possible. And the best way for me to do that is for me to chat with you guys. And it makes my entire life. Like I will do this forever because these testimonials just bring me so much joy. And I know I'm bringing you guys joy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little sweet solo session. And we will chat next week. All right, guys, bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. Please follow, subscribe, leave a review, all of the good things. If you want to connect more, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Visualize Meditations. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, create the life of your dreams, and we will see you next week.